May 15, 1943. Somewhere west of Kansas, 20-year-old Feldwebel Vera Hartmann presses his face against the train window. He has been traveling for 3 days since leaving Camp Shanks in New York. 3 whole days watching America go by. 3 days trying to understand everything he is seeing. The train slows at another dusty station, Amarillo, Texas. On the platform, a man in leather chaps and a wide-brimmed hat watches the train. A real cowboy, not a fake poster, not a Hollywood actor, a real American cowboy rolling a cigarette, squinting in the hot desert sun. Hartmann and 499 other German prisoners of war are about to enter a world that Isef Goebbels had said didn't exist. They were mostly Afrika Korps soldiers captured at Kasserine Pass, Tunis, and Sicily. Men who had fought under Rommel. Men who had expected to die in the desert. Different desert, different result. The Nazi propaganda machine had told them exactly what to expect from American captivity. Barbarism, torture, cruelty. The uncultured people of the New World would treat them like animals. After all, Americans were soft, spoiled cowboys and gangsters, a nation of mixed races without real culture or honor. The first shock came on the transport ships. White bread, real coffee, 3 hot meals a day, more food than German soldiers had seen in months. The same rations American soldiers got, as required by the Geneva Convention. Now, as the train goes deeper into Texas, the surprises keep coming. Through the windows they see endless farmland, herds of cattle that stretch to the horizon, oil derricks pumping black gold, towns with electric lights, paved roads, and cars everywhere. One prisoner would later write to his family, "The Americans have so much of everything. They even share it with their enemies." Camp Hearn, Texas, 30 miles northwest of Houston, was built for 4,800 prisoners. In reality, it was like a small American town in the middle of cotton country. The buses from the train station drive through the main gate. The Germans expect machine gun towers, attack dogs, and brutal guards. Instead, they find barracks with electricity and indoor plumbing, hot showers, flush toilets, and things many of them didn't even have back in Germany. The camp commander addresses them through a translator. The rules are simple. Work 8 hours a day. Follow the regulations. Cause no trouble. In return, 3 big meals every day. Wages of 80 cents per day in camp script. Canteen privileges. Recreation. Mail from home. Untraitier Friedrich Becke can't process what he is hearing. Wages. They are going to pay prisoners the same rate as American privates who earn $50 a month. The next morning, they meet their work supervisors. Not soldiers, ranchers, cotton farmers, cattlemen. Men in worn denim and leather boots. Men who need hands for the harvest. The American agricultural system is feeding half the free world. But American boys are fighting in Italy, preparing for France. Texas cotton fields stretch for thousands of acres. Without workers, it will rot in the fields. The Germans are the answer to every farmer's prayer. A rancher named John Davidson looks over the group of prisoners. He needs 40 men for his cotton fields. He points at the biggest, strongest Germans. Then he does something that stops everyone cold. He walks over, extends his hand, and introduces himself. In Texas, he explains through a translator. Men shake hands before working together. Oberfreiter Wilhelm Miller stares at the extended hand. 6 months ago, he was fighting Americans in Tunisia. Now one wants to shake his hand like an equal. He takes it. Davidson's grip is firm, calloused, a working man's hand. The cotton fields of Brazos County stretch for miles under the Texas sun. The work is hard. Bent backs, bleeding fingers, 100-pound sacks. But something amazing happens in those fields. The German prisoners work alongside Mexican migrant workers, black sharecroppers, poor white tenant farmers. The racial hierarchy the Nazis preached falls apart under the Texas sun. Everyone sweats the same. Everyone's back aches the same. Everyone drinks from the same water bucket. At noon, Rosa Martinez, the ranch cook, rings the dinner bell. The prisoners expect bread and water. Instead, beef stew, cornbread, sweet tea, apple pie. Rosa does not speak German. The prisoners do not speak Spanish, but she ladles extra portions onto their plates and smiles. Food is a universal language. Vera Hartmann will remember this meal for the rest of his life. Not because of the food, but because a Mexican woman treats German prisoners with the same kindness she shows everyone else. The Third Reich said this was impossible. The Third Reich was wrong. Saturday night, Camp Herne. The recreation hall fills with music, not military marches, not Nazi anthems. Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys on the radio. Western swing, the sound of America in 1943. After Italy switched sides in September 1943, Italian PS gained more freedoms. They could attend local dances, chaperoned and supervised. German prisoners watched with envy. Some camps later allowed carefully watched social events. Always supervised, always controlled, but still a small piece of normal life in wartime. The prisoners form bands, learn American songs. Some write new ones. A strange mix of German folk melodies and Western swing music that exists nowhere else in the world. The letters home create their own problem. What can they write? How can they describe this to families suffering through Allied bombing, to mothers standing in ration lines, to wives who haven't seen meat in months? Friedrich Becker writes to his wife in Hamburg, "The Americans are not what we were told. They have given us warm clothes and good boots. We eat meat every day. I am saving my wages. When I come home, we will have money." He doesn't mention the plenty that surrounds him. The cars every farmer owns, the electric lights burning all night, the stores full of goods. How could he? She wouldn't believe him. The censors wouldn't let it through anyway. Camp in Milan near Amarillo. Here the cowboys aren't just in stories. They are real, and they need help with thousands of cattle. The rancher, Thomas Anderson, looks over his new workers, Luftwaffe pilots, panzer crews, U-boat sailors. Not one has ever seen a cow up close. He sighs. This is going to be interesting. He starts with the basics: how to approach a horse, how to hold a rope, how not to get kicked, bitten, or trampled. The Germans are scared of the animals. The animals are wary of the Germans. It's distrust at first sight. But Anderson is patient. His own son is flying B-7s over Germany. These boys in front of him are someone's sons too. Enemy or not, they are here. And cattle don't care about politics. Within weeks, something amazing happens. The Germans take to ranching like they were born for it. Maybe it's their military discipline. Maybe it's their engineering minds liking the planning of moving cattle. Maybe it's just that working with animals is honest in a way that war never was. Hamann Erich Schmidt becomes Anderson's best horseman. He can rope, brand, and doctor cattle with the best of them. At night he sketches the land. Mesa at sunset. Longhorns against the sky. Cowboys and Germans working side by side. Pictures that would be impossible anywhere else in the world. In 1943, Sunday mornings in the camps, German prisoners hold their own religious services. Lutheran ministers, Catholic priests among the PWs lead worship. The American military provides hymnals, religious materials, freedom of religion, even for enemies. Some camps make special permits for prisoners to attend local churches on holidays. Christmas 1944. A few German PS sit in the back pews of an American church. The hymn is Silent Night, originally still in German. They know every word. By the third verse, some are crying, not from sadness, but from the shock of being treated as human beings in enemy land. December 23, 1944, Camp Papago Park, Arizona. 25 U-boat sailors have been digging for 3 months. Their tunnel stretches 178 ft past the fence. Tonight they escape. The plan is smart in its bold foolishness. Float down the Salt River to Mexico. Live free until Germany wins the war. They built a collapsible boat, studied maps, saved food. Everything is ready. Captain Littman Hanser Kraus leads the way. They come out in the Arizona desert under a full moon. Freedom. They run toward the river and stop. The Salt River is dry, bone dry. Not a drop of water anywhere. Just sand and rocks. The maps were from 1880, before the dams, before irrigation. Their boat is useless. Their plan is dead. They scatter into the desert. Within hours, they are lost. The Arizona desert in December is freezing at night and burning hot during the day. They have no water, no real food, and no idea where they are. Unteroffizier Johann Kramer stumbles into a gas station near Phoenix. He has been free for 3 days. He is sunburned, dehydrated, and seeing things. The attendant, an old man named Pete, gives him water, makes him a sandwich, then calls the authorities. While they wait, Pete shares his coffee and tells Kramer about his own son in the Pacific. 2 fathers' sons, one lost in the desert, one lost in a war. Captain Jürgen Buttenberg makes it the farthest, all the way to downtown Phoenix. He is sitting on Van Buren Street on January 28th when a street cleaner hears his accent. The police find him tired, homesick, ready to go back. Even escaped, America is still America, full of comfort, kindness, and impossible to hate. Spring 1945. The war in Europe is ending. In the camps, the mood changes. Letters from home stop coming. Cities are rubble. Families are scattered or dead. What is there left to go back to? Thomas Anderson makes an offer to his German cowboys. He wishes they could stay and work the ranch. He would sponsor them if he could. The pay would be good. $100 a month plus room and food. More than they would make in Germany if Germany still existed. But the Geneva Convention is clear. Prisoners must be sent back home. No exceptions. They must go. But go home to what? Soviet occupation, rubble and hunger. Ranchers across Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona write to their congressmen. These are not just prisoners anymore. They are neighbors, friends, the best workers they have ever had. But the law is the law. May 8, 1945. V-Day, Germany surrenders. In Camp Herne, the prisoners listen to the radio in silence. Their country is gone. The Third Reich, that was supposed to last 1,000 years, lasted only 12. Everything they fought for is gone like ash. But something new has been born in these camps, on these ranches, and in these churches, understanding friendship, and a new kind of future that no one ever imagined. That night, John Davidson brings a bottle of whiskey to the camp, good bourbon from before the war. He shares it with Wilhelm Müller and the Germans who have worked his fields. They drink to the end of war, to the dead on all sides, to whatever comes. Next, Müller tells him, through an interpreter who is no longer needed, that he wants to come back when he can. If he can, America has shown him something. Germany never did. That strength does not need cruelty. That power does not need hate. That enemies can become friends over cotton fields and cattle drives. The repatriation starts in 1946. Trains go back east to the ports and ships sail to Europe, to a broken nation. But the Germans carry something with them. Knowledge, not war secrets, but something stronger. They know how Americans farm, how they plan, and how they work. They have seen the American plenty, and they know it is not magic. It is methods, machines, and management things. They can learn and use themselves. More important, they know Americans. Not the fake ones from propaganda, but real Americans. Thomas Anderson teaching them to ride Rosa Martinez, giving extra stew. John Davidson shaking their hands. Pete giving water to a lost prisoner. When they tell these stories in Germany, no one believes. Them Americans treating prisoners better than Germany treated its own soldiers impossible. Paying them money, teaching them work, sharing food and churches sounds like fantasy. But the proof is clear. 5,000 German POWs worked on American farms from 1943 to 1946. They brought in millions of dollars of crops, picked cotton by the ton, and saved whole harvests that would have rotted. The great American farming miracle that fed the Allied war effort. German prisoners helped make it happen. By 1950, something amazing happens. Immigration laws change, and old prisoners can now come back with $5,000. They board ships in Hamburg and Bremen, not as prisoners this time, but as immigrants looking for the America they had found when they were captured. A former Africa Corps sergeant returns to Texas in 1951. John Davidson is waiting at the station with the same handshake, but a stronger grip. No translator is needed now. His English is perfect with a Texas accent. He sounds like a cowboy. He marries a local girl, opens a machine shop, fixes tractors and farm tools. His son goes to Texas, A&M, to study farming. His grandson serves in Afghanistan with the U.S. Army, 82nd Airborne. The change is complete. Another man returns to Arizona. Thomas Anderson already has work for him, the best horseman he ever trained. Later, this man buys his own ranch, 500 acres near Tucson, raises quarter horses and wins prizes at state fairs. His neighbors know his story, but they do not care. In Arizona, you are judged by how you work, not by where you came from. Even one of the Papago Park escapees returns, legally opens a small shop in Phoenix, not far from where he was once caught. The funny part is not lost on anyone. Many years later, old prisoners come back to see the camps again. They bring photo books showing young men in German uniforms learning to pick cotton, learning to rope cattle, learning that their enemies were people too. At one reunion, an old rancher stands up to talk. His voice is weak, but his words are clear. You boys came here as enemies. You left as friends, and you came back as family. That is the American way. That's the cowboy way. That's the human way. The clapping goes on for 5 minutes. Old enemies, hugging, no dry eyes anywhere. The numbers tell one story. 425,000 German prisoners, 700 camps in 46 states, millions of dollars in farm work, 5,000 later returning as immigrants. But the real story is not in the numbers. It's in the change. Nazi soldiers turning into Texas cowboys, enemies turning into neighbors, hate melting away because of kindness, lies broken by simple human care. The Germans expected cruelty from Americans, but they found plenty, not just plenty of things. Plenty of heart, the quiet strength of a country so sure of itself. It could be kind to its enemies, so strong it could show mercy. In his last letter from Camp Moulin, one prisoner wrote to his mother, "The Americans are cowboys just like Goebbels said. But he never told us cowboys could be kind. He never told us they would share their food, their skills, their hearts. He never told us they would teach us to ride horses and fix tractors. He never told us they would shake our hands. He never told us the truth about anything." The truth was simple and deep in the American West. German prisoners found something bigger than any nation or war. They learned that enemies are just people you haven't worked beside. Yet that hate can't live through a harvest. That being human is stronger than any army they came. As fighters for the Third Reich, they left as cowboys, and in the Texas dust, the New Mexico mesas, and the Arizona sun, they learned the most dangerous lesson of all, that their enemies were human, and so were they.